Welcome back to the channel, folks, and to another battle report where I'll be using some more Bulge American stuff. This time I'll be using a list built on some of the core elements of the starter set, but with a few more things added. There'll be some Pershings in there, so it'll be interesting to see how this particular list gets on. You know, I'm looking at these tiny little tank lists and thinking, you know, especially because most of them are front armour 7, that they could go in a puff of smoke, you know, in one turn of shooting. So I'm still very sort of paranoid about using them and, you know, what's going to happen to them. I'm playing Peter, face-to-face game, whilst we still can. You know, we may well go back into lockdown again in Scotland, proper lockdown, if you see what I mean. Fingers crossed we don't. But let's go over, have a look at the lists, look at what I'm playing in the way of a Yank armoured list, and see what Peter's brought, and we'll take it from there. So the list I'm using today is obviously from the American Bulge book, and we've got a tank formation. This is the veteran tank formation with a bit of support. So the HQ is actually I'm having to borrow some stuff from Peter for this game because I have some painting left to do, but these are two 75mm Shermans. We'll make this one with the sandbags, the jumbo. Then a platoon of 4 76s, one of which is a jumbo. Then a platoon of 3 Pershings and 3 mortar half-tracks. And then in support I've got these enormous armoured rifle platoons. It's just, I've never used one before and I can't believe how many figures there are actually in it. Remember, these guys are reluctant, though they rally on a 4+. Then you've got 3 priests, which are nearly finished. The half-tracks are not quite finished. And then the wee Greyhound patrol. So it's a fairly balanced force all round, but this will be the key thing possibly if we come up against tanks. So let's go and see what Peter's using.
Okay, it's a list from the German D-Day book. It's the Tiger tank force. The formation consists of the HQ and then 2 platoons of 3 Tigers, and that's my formation. And then support, I've got a beach defence infantry platoon and 3 Wesps and an observer.
I see that the beach defence platoon, is it the one that's got rifle MGs or just rifles?
Well, that's a very good question. I'll check my it's they've got just it's a machine gun rifle teams, right. So okay. Rate fire 2 halted and 1 moving.
And do they have any such things as Fausts or what?
They've got Faust with them, but they're the cheapest infantry I could get. So they have got Faust, but they're hitting a 3 up, and they are confident, but they're green. They're still green.
Okay. The Pershing is the American answer to the Tiger, an American heavy tank, and it compares quite closely in many ways to the Tiger tank. It's rated careful, confident, trained, but it's got a 3+ skill check for Yankee ingenuity. The armour is 9 on the front, 6 on the side, a bit less than a Tiger, and 2 on the top. Its main gun has got a range of 36 inches and an anti-tank of 14. So the Tiger's got a slight edge here, 4 inches, which could, at very long ranges, make a big difference. But otherwise, once they get up close to each other, you know, they're going to be very, very similar to Tiger tanks in terms of how easy they are to hit, how easy they are to kill with that anti-tank 14. So the Pershing has got some potential to dish out a lot of damage whilst taking a lot of incoming fire and giving the Yanks that critical anti-tank 14 in their lists. The iconic Tiger tank is well armoured with a great gun with a very, very good range of 40 inches. With anti-tank 14 and that kind of range, it can really dominate the battlefield, and with its strong armour it can take a lot of punishment, especially at range. Now it's rated as careful, confident, veteran, but the Tiger Ace skills give it a last stand of 2 and a remount of 2, which means even when using them in small numbers, it's very difficult to get them completely removed from the battlefield unless you kill them all, because there's a very small chance that they're actually going to run away. So quite rightly, the Tiger tank can still be a very effective and feared weapon in Flames of War. As we both have tank formations, when it came to the mission stance we both chose attack and we rolled free for all. Now free for all, as you can probably see from the deployment setup, is quite a simple mission. There's a lot of no man's land and fairly small deployment areas with fairly large areas for the objectives to go into. It's a game where both sides start with everything on the table. The only rule, mission rule, is meeting engagement, so that the player who goes first won't be using artillery, aircraft, and will fire at the moving rate of fire. Now, other than that, it's just one platoon being deployed by each side alternatively. Roll a dice when you're finished, the highest goes first. Now, this game can be quite tricky for tank formations, because you have to hold objectives but somehow attack and take an objective. You get nothing for holding on to objectives in this game as you would if you were a defensive kind of player. You have to take an objective. So we're both going to be challenged by this demand for these very small number of platoons attacking and defending. So we'll see what happens, folks. Right folks, the mission is free for all. It's quite simple in terms of the deployment zones, but we'll just go over it quickly. You can see Peter, he rolled for the attacker and he chose this side. So you've got like a hill at both ends and quite a lot of low terrain. I've put one objective here and one objective here, and then my deployment zone has got, as you can see, it's behind the town to an extent. It's got a big hill, a long line of trees which will reduce visibility a bit, and Peter's put one objective way over there and way over here. So Peter, what have you put down and where?
Okay, my formation, I've put one Tiger platoon in the middle here to try and protect this objective, and then I've put one over here just to maybe threaten that objective and also maybe get any shots if some tanks come in this way. The HQ is here, and then my infantry is covering this objective. Wesps back here and observers over here in the hill. Right.
And what I've done is, let's just start this end. You can see my scouts, my mortar half tracks, infantry platoon, company HQ, Pershings, and then because I'm split totally apart, we've got 76mm Sherman platoon with a jumbo and the priests behind the hill, out of line of sight. So we'll be rolling off to see who the attacker is, and whoever does go first, remember, doesn't get to fire a bombardment and everything shoots at its moving rate of fire.
Okay, first turn, decided it looks as if Frank's coming in my left flank, so I've just moved my Tigers across to try and match him as he comes in. Over here, the Tigers in the wood, I moved one across here to be able to get shots at his the 76s. And that was all the movement. Shooting, the only shooting was the Tiger, 3 shots at the 76s, and I missed them all.
Yeah, he needed 5s, 3 dice, and I was sweating, but 3 2s. Yeah, I had turn 1, so it's really just movement. There was no motivation to talk of. I've tucked these guys in here, sticking the jumbo on the outside, so I've got cover from those Tigers, but I can still make progress. These guys blitzed up onto the hill, that's the priests. Over here everything's just stayed still. These guys have got the observer rule, so I used them to call in the mortars on the edge of the wood there, which caught a couple of bases infantry, ranged in second time, no hits, and then the priests, because they blitzed onto the hill, were able to, you can see beside that tiger there, ranged in here, second attempt once again, and I managed to hit a tiger and a wesp. Tiger laughed it off, the wesp got bailed though. So that's it really. Maybe not going to be too much happening in the early turns, guys, until we can figure out what each other is all about.
Okay, didn't manage to bail in my wesp, so it stayed bailed out. Movement, I did a blitz to move my HQ out here to get some shot. This tiger platoon moved up to get a couple of shots on the artillery on the hill, and then this tiger platoon decided to come out of the woods. They feel aggressive, they feel lucky. Shooting, luckily on a 7 I managed to hit that tank at the end and managed to destroy it.
Personally, I didn't think you would get a 7, folks.
The 2 Vesps had a shot at that big car park over there. Got a couple of hits, but I think I only bailed a couple.
One bailed mortar half track.
What was it? Right, one bailed half track. Over here, I got 2 shots. The artillery on the hill and missed them.
I didn't realise these guys were aggressive. I thought they'd be very careful, like everything else, but they aggressively bombard people. So Yank turn 2. In terms of motivation, the bailed out mortar got back in. In terms of movement, the infantry have come out into these buildings. I've tried to cross here with these half tracks. I want to go through this gap. 2 got stuck. Only needed 3s. 2 got stuck. The commander got through. 2 got stuck, which prevented the rest moving through. Just need them for MG support. And then over here, I thought there's no point in putting 4 of these against 3 tigers, so I pulled them back. I have to hold this objective. These guys are off the hill, but that was with a shooting scoot after firing a bombardment that managed to get one of the Wesps. They nearly got an infantry, but failed with the firepower, and then the mortars continue to be ranged in with these guys. They've got their own mortar, but I want to keep these guys going to ground. They managed to hit, but no failed save on the infantry that are in the wood there. So I'm not being aggressive here, folks, because the one, as I was saying to Peter, the one list I didn't want to come up against was Tigers and 88s. So Peter at least cut out the 88s by bringing 7 Tigers. My guys are not particularly well armoured, folks. These guys are 9, which means that at short range I need a 6 to bounce a shot. So I really need to be careful. So we'll see how the game develops. I am going to keep pushing forward as much as I can and take what opportunities I can, and we'll see what Peter can do in the meantime without sticking his neck out too much.
Okay, there the infantry did fail to unpin, but the Wesp, who was bailed out, bailed back in. Movement, I blitzed the HQ out there to get a shot on the tiger, or the Pershing. Blitzed this platoon and then moved this guy up to get a shot on the infantry. And these guys blitzed and did a tactical move to get shots at the jumbo. Shooting, this guy failed to hit the tank, he needed a 7. The Wesps ranged in the 3rd attempt at this infantry here. I was having to re-roll my hits
on 6s,
but I managed to get a double 6, and he failed his save, so I got 1 infantry.
And they're pinned as well, that could be really important.
2 shots on this jumbo, but they both failed.
Needing 7s.
And that was my game. I managed to do a shooting scoot on the HQ, and these failed at shooting scoot.
American turn 2. In terms of motivation, the infantry unpinned, that was it. And as you can see, they've kept moving forward. They're kind of spread out a bit here, but it's such a large amount of guys. There's a bazooka there, 1 in each of those houses, 2 here, light machine guns up here. Then in terms of movement, these guys just cannot get over this hedge, even on a 3 up. As 1 more half track is over the hedge. Hooray! And then in terms of other movement, I did a blitz to get these guys back on the hill, and these guys, I failed a blitz, otherwise I could have actually tried to do something this turn. So in terms of shooting, these guys ranged in again on the hill, managed to hit infantry, and again, another chance to kill a base of infantry, but they failed their 3 up firepower again. These guys though managed to actually kill the base infantry, which I was quite surprised with. That guy, the red square in there. Just because they were in range, I fired a couple of zooks, but no hits. And that was it, folks. If I stick my neck out, I'm still got very little chance of causing any hits, therefore less chance of causing any failed saves and past firepowers. Had my blitz worked over here, I would have gone for it. As it is, it didn't happen. So I still have to keep my head down and hope Peter doesn't roll lots of 7s.
Okay, so I managed to unpin the infantry, but they're not going to do anything anyway, but they're unpinned. Movement, didn't move him, these guys didn't move, and these guys didn't move, because they all had shots at the artillery on the hill, so I didn't move them. The way of shooting with this guy, I tried to shoot at the recon, but needed 7s, and I didn't get any hits. The Wesps ranged in on this building. I was re-rolling all my hits, so I managed to kill one bazooka.
Yeah, 1 hit, 1 kill.
So I had 6 shots here, and I killed 1 and bailed 1.
Bailed
2, and then had 6 shots over here. I managed to destroy another one.
Yeah, just got the 1 hit with that lot, but that was enough.
Yeah, no.
It ended up as a double bail, but he failed his motivation.
And then I managed to shoot and scoop with these guys, and managed to shoot and scoop with these guys.
Turn 3. In terms of motivation, the infantry unpinned, but the surviving priest didn't get back in and run away. In terms of motivation, over here, a couple of zooks moved up to shoot the tigers. The LMG stayed put, and then everyone else has moved into these houses. The half-tracks actually managed to catch up with them. That's the command half-track, command infantry. These guys keeping the head down, just moving up towards that hedge. In terms of shooting, it was just infantry, and they actually managed to kill a base, which is good going again. There's quite a lot of dice, I have to admit. They fired a couple of shots at the tiger, got 1 hit, but it's saved. It would be a lucky hit even on the side with a bazooka against the tiger. So I'm pushing on with what I can, folks.
Okay, the infantry managed to unpin again, so they're unpinned. Regarding movement, this tank has just, the HQ tank has just come up to maybe just give this infantry some support. This platoon again has come back to sort of support this objective and the infantry. And then this platoon is just moving over this way to try and put pressure on that objective. Firing. Did I kill one? Oh yes, I killed a zook with this guy.
The bazooka's the only guys that fail the save in this platoon, guys.
My HQ managed to kill a bazooka. This platoon here fired at the infantry but didn't do any damage. The repeat bombardment over here with the Wesps, but again, I don't think I hit anything. And these guys didn't have any shots at all. And that was it.
Yank turn 5. I don't think there was any motivation that turn. As far as movement goes, the half-tracks are moving up with some MG support. The scouts have moved up a bit. Over here I've decided to come out and get some shots. I was hoping, there was tigers over there that were threatened by bazookas. I was hoping at least to get a bail. And I was hoping to get him all the way over here as well, but he failed a blitz. These guys actually managed to pass a blitz. It's all going to come down to what happens here, I think, because next turn Peter can contest. I was going to be in the open. Whatever happened, he would get shots at me. So I've at least this turn got myself behind the crest of the hill, but in cover of smoke, and I did it with a blitz. So at least I'll be going to ground when he comes up and shoots me next turn. And then over here, I don't think I actually killed anything in shooting this turn. But these guys are where they need to be at the moment. The bazookas tried an assault on him. They made it in okay, took 2 hits from counter fire, saved, and then got 1 hit back. Peter decided to break off. The infantry had to break off. The Tiger decided he was going to do it as well. So I've just consolidated over there. They're just 2 lone bazooka men try to be a nuisance.
Okay, that turn my infantry failed to unpin even with a reroll from their commander, so they're still pinned. Movement, this Tiger, he moved back a bit here. These 3 stayed put. We're going to get shots on these 2 wee bazooka men that they don't like. And then this platoon did a blitz and then a tactical move.
Because I got most of it past the cover that was protecting those tanks.
Shooting, didn't get any hits here. These 3 Tiger tanks machine gunned the 2 bazookas but only managed to kill 1, so there's one still hanging in there. The infantry didn't shoot. The Vesps tried to they did range in here in the first attempt, but they didn't get any hits. Did they get any hits? They had a few hits, but they saved them all.
Yeah, the bazooka actually saved this turn.
Yes. And then the Tigers that moved up here missed with all their shots.
There's a lot of 2s getting rolled.
Roll, yes, no use.
So obviously it's getting very critical over there. Yank turn 6. So in terms of motivation, the infantry unpinned. In terms of movement, half tracks moving around. These guys tried a blitz and failed. The infantry stayed put, but behind that smoke screen there's a bazooka man beside the objective. Then 1 Persian tactical, the others dashed. He dashed up to the hill. These guys failed another blitz. 3 out of 4 blitz on the 3 up guys. They really needed it to be able to be able to hit these guys, because that meant with their where they were positioned, they couldn't really. Only 1 could shoot and stay in cover, so I needed 6s. 3 of them were shooting on 6s. The jumbo on a 5. I didn't get any hits, guys. He tried as well and didn't get any hits. Whoop, there he is. He's joined them though. That's another jumbo. And then over here, there was quite a lot of shooting going on these guys, but they survived, no bother at all. Though the shooting for them was terrible. At 14 dice, I got 1 hit on a 5. But that's about it, folks. It's still going to come down to over here, I reckon.
Okay, infantry managed to unpin. I think the West was bailed out, but he managed to bail back in.
We never mentioned that, but he got bailed out by that single mortar there, which was just comedic.
Over here, the commander of this platoon moved over here to try and get rid of this bazooka guy, and the observer came off the hill to try and get rid of him because he was contesting the objective, and that could have been critical. These guys didn't move, so when it comes to shooting, there's a peat bombardment over here, but didn't manage to kill anything. The Tigers all shot at the infantry, but not managed to do any damage. This Tiger had fired machine guns at the bazooka, hiding in the smoke, but failed to hit.
No, he got hit, but I made a save.
Oh, right, save. And then my observer managed to get 3 shots and managed to kill the bazooka.
Yeah, he got a couple of hits on him, and he failed 1.
Over in the corner here, 6 shots, and Frank, I managed to hit twice, but failed my firepower, so I only got 2 bales out of that, so that was disappointing.
I had 2 jumbos there. I was ready to knock them off one of the jumbos, but I rolled a 2. These guys should be called my number 2 platoon. They could have rolled 2s.
And that was all. Yes, that was me.
Yankee turn 7. These guys didn't unpin, but it's the first time in the game. These guys here both got back in. Protected ammo helps. In terms of movement, these moved over, they stayed put. The recon guys failed another blitz. They're only really useful to me here with a blitz, I think. So they just stayed put. These guys, because they were pinned, just stayed on the ground. And then in terms of shooting, the mortars rearranged in over here. Didn't get any kills, but they ranged in again. And then over here, the Pershings missed. He fired at the observer for killing the bazooka and missed. And then here they got 4 hits. Oh, I never fired him, but we'll work that out in a minute. 4 hits on here. He got 2, 1 and... He got 2, 1 and 1. It's actually the other way around.
Is it?
Yeah, because it was the one with 2, you stuck the 2 in the end. So he failed 1 and 1 potential bail, and he failed 1. He ended up bailed, he ended up dead. So, that's it. There's one more thing I'm going to do, which is fire a couple of smoke shells from this guy into them, just to try and, I think, make it difficult for those to shoot me back, because my platoon could go in one turn there.
Okay, so motivation, I managed to unpin this infantry platoon, and was there a wisp?
No, they were fine.
Over there was a bailed out tiger. I managed to bail him back in, and that was the motivation. Movement, I decided the tiger HQ is going to make a dash for that objective, but it's going to take him a long time to get there. Over here, this platoon moved to try and get shots on both the Pershings and the infantry platoon on the hill, but failed to hit. Over here, the two tanks didn't move. They shot. One tank shot at the Pershings and missed, and the other shot at the 76s and missed. So after they did a shoot and scoot to try and reduce the amount coming back at them, and that was me.
Yankee turn 8. These guys didn't unpin again, unfortunately. In terms of movement though, I've moved some guys back so I can occupy that house, and a lone tiger would have to shoot them out, which should take quite some time, because that guy's coming. Then in terms of movement, the half-track stayed put. That one was dead last turn. These guys managed to get a blitz around here, and then other things happened after that. Number 2 platoon, as we've now called them, because they keep rolling a 2 for their blitz, managed to roll a 2 for their blitz. So they just got themselves away from the danger presented by these tigers. I moved the Persians up, and the Persians got 2 hits and got 2 kills. So I'm going to have to do something about taking an objective now. I reckon I can hold on to this one. Then over here, these guys stayed on the ground. It wasn't really worth shooting at anything. The half-tracks fired and managed... Did the half-tracks get that?
Yes.
No, I think that's there, I think.
Was it all right?
Oh no, maybe they did. Maybe a guy got killed there. And then these moved around the side. The Greyhound managed to get a hit and a kill on one Wesp. The other Wesp took a couple of NG hits but saved. And then the Greyhound went in for an assault on a base here and made it in past the counter fire of the Wesp and off the Faust, and managed to kill a base. But these guys, motivated on a 5+, came in, didn't get a hit because they're green, but I broke off because scouts they motivate very badly. So I pulled off back around the wood, and then he consolidated back into his hidey hole. So I think they maybe taught a lesson in a minute.
Okay, infantry failed to unpin. They've only got 3 stands left, but they're still pinned.
And that command figure here to move over.
Yes, to get back into command, just so they weren't out of command.
Yep. So there was no motivation check
at the moment. Over here, the tiger decided to stand still and have a shot at them, but missed him twice. The Vesp passed its last man standing and moved over here to take a shot at the recon, but missed. Over here, the tanks did a tactical move to try and get some shots in the tanks protecting that objective, but they missed all the shots, and that was me on the observers moving around here just to.
The tigers have lost their fire. You know, they're just not hitting anything.
Yes.
In this game. Me and Peter are still utterly bemused how there's 3 dead tigers, not a single dead tank. It makes no sense. Unlucky firepowers, there could easily be 2 dead
Yes.
Shermans, and then it would be a different story. But we'll see, because I've still got to take an objective, because nobody's won anything yet. Yeah, turn 9, in terms of motivation, the infantry didn't unpin again. These guys continued to move to that house just to obscure the objective. The Greyhound stayed put, and the other vehicles moved forward. The half-tracks moved over. And then in terms of shooting, these guys fell to half-track fire. It was everything from the half-tracks. One was not dug in, and one was dug in. And then arranged in here with the mortars. Didn't get a hit though. He tried to hit the west, but the west dodged it. Jinked to the side. So as the luck, so he tried to shoot and scoot as well, but it wasn't happening. And then over here, he got shot, and they did a lot to that range with stabiliser. They're behind the hill. These guys moved onto the hill and managed to get 1 hit, but at range it was enough to get a bail. So it's only bailed out, but I don't imagine that'll be much of a problem for a tiger or for a mate. So it's getting a bit thin in the ground over by that objective. So there'll be some important motivations to make. Right folks, this turned out to be the last turn. Peter, do you want to tell us what happened in the way of motivations and movements and things?
Okay, well, Frank was contesting the objective there, and I wasn't, so I had to try and get someone to contest the objective, but I'd spread myself too thin. This Tiger tank didn't have the movement to get to the objective. This platoon failed to unpin, but passed the last man standing.
So it failed a 4-up unpin and passed a 5-up last stand.
So he's pinned, he couldn't move forward. There was one single vesp left, so he could have contested the objective, but he failed his last man standing, so he disappeared. The only other option was to try and get these Tiger tanks, which had set off in that direction, to contest that objective. I tried to move a tactical move and then a follow me. The commander passed to follow me, but the other 2 failed, so they didn't get within 4 inches.
And remember folks, you can't contest an objective if you dash. So the follow me was critical there.
Yes.
And unfortunately the commander was furthest forward.
Yes.
If he'd been further back, he moves automatically.
So I couldn't get back in time to contest that objective, and hence presenting Frank with the win.
Go on the Jeeps.
With his recon platoon.
Not just that, it's the Jeeps. Right folks, over to the recap. So, starting off with the Yanks, today I got Pershings and 76 mils with a jumbo and a 76, a jumbo in the HQ. The idea being the jumbo in HQ would hang about the Pershings to take some incoming fire. The other platoon already had a jumbo. But I've honestly got no idea how it turned out to be 3 dead Tigers and no dead Shermans. Obviously the Pershings got in for the coup de grace. The Shermans were just lucky to stay alive till then. But it shows you folks, the Pershings started over here when those Shermans were already under attack. And you can move so fast in this game that they managed to go over and have an impact. But those Shermans could easily be gubbed. I may have been able to hang on till the Persians got here with the couple of jumbos that were over there, but it was just bad luck. And in the end it was bad luck that failed all those critical motivations for Peter. But I just, I said to Peter just there, I said at the start of the game, I said to myself, my recon are going to win this for me, because I couldn't see how anything else was going to win it for me. And I thought, I'm going to bring them up the side here, get around, and hopefully I will have depleted things sufficiently that I could put an assault in. And by then the Tigers had gone off because they had to go and do other things, and they sneaked in the bloody Jeeps, won it in the end. These guys that didn't try an assault, because they are reluctant, I thought I just need to keep whittling the defenders down to staying and shooting And when they got pinned, I thought I'm just going to keep them going to ground. The half tracks were there, doing a good job at shooting up the infantry. Peter, how do you feel about your list and how did the game go for you?
I enjoyed the game. I quite like playing with tigers because it's good fun. It was usually a quick game, but it was quick today.
This one was too cagey.
I was just too gung ho with that platoon up the flank.
I suppose you were a bit unlucky.
So yes, I should have maybe been more careful with them. If I'd killed a few of the Shermans, then that would have evened up the fight. But I didn't, and they got destroyed. And that meant if I was going to try and win, I sent this platoon off to try and get that objective. But they got to here. But by that time, Frank had depleted my infantry platoon and was contesting this objective, and that's what finally did it for me. I think I could have held out if I could have prolonged the game just by protecting the two objectives with the 4 tigers I had left. But I wanted revenge for that platoon over there.
You know, it's a really difficult game to play with 2 opposing tank forces when there's just like 3 tank platoons each, in a company HQ and 2 platoons. You can't be everywhere. I tried. It's like, you know, Peter put my objectives as far apart as possible, and it's always a good tactic. Here I thought, well, we could just square up to each other, but why not stick one in the middle instead? And my wee bazooka nearly got it. It was just the, well, I suppose your tiger was there already, but he didn't spot the observer rolling up behind him, and the observer got him. But it was a long game, it was a cagey game. I had to play it cagey because I knew one good round of shooting will gut me. Like, you should have killed 2 Shermans in one turn, and then that would have left me 2 Shermans over there against 3 tigers, and in a bad way. But overall, hopefully enough action in that, guys, for you to have enjoyed it. So just leaves for me to say thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing as always, and if you'd like to subscribe, please do so and hit the bell button, which means we'll definitely see you on the next one. Peter, thanks for playing.
Okay, cheers, bye.